What's good, my Republic of Heroes? Heart Hero 456, Exo65 here, and I just gotta say something. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. I have been a fan of the blue blur ever since I was just a wee boy. I remember getting up on Saturday mornings because I didn't have cable at the time and trying to catch whatever I could on Cubo, only to remember, wait a minute, there's an entirely other random station that exists on public access television called Jetix, and it's going to be airing a new episode of Sonic X. Then Jetix turned into Disney XD, which I couldn't afford. Then I remembered, wait, 4Kids, for some strange reason, is still airing television, so I could just get up on Saturday mornings and catch that, next to episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai and whatever the fuck shows up on Cubo. Because, of course, as everyone knows, poor people who can't afford basic television is totally okay in this economy. I'm not crying, you're crying. But with all that being said, I will definitely tell you all one thing that I'm sure everyone here can agree on. Sonic the Hedgehog has a lot of really great things about it. So many great things, in fact, that it's kind of disappointing when the Sonic the Hedgehog series, for some strange reason, keeps fumbling the bag. And I mean fumbling it hard. Which is why I kinda wanted to make this video. Even though Sonic Frontiers is a phenomenally great game with some of the best boss battles in Sonic the Hedgehog history, a really well thought out and interesting combat system, and just a lot of really cool and, honest to God, epic storytelling in character moments, I personally think the Sonic series still has so much room for improvement, and, well, I personally feel like Sonic the Hedgehog hasn't fully been redeemed. In other words, Sonic still needs to be fixed. I don't mean that type of fix, you fucking perverts. I mean fixed in the sense that there are still so many problems with Sonic the Hedgehog overall that need to be made better, that can both please old fans and potential new fans. Oh yes, that's right. I hereby am claiming that I have a way for Sonic the Hedgehog to be such a phenomenal franchise that it can literally earn back mainstream respect again. It can dig itself out of the grave that's none other than Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric put it in about a few years ago. So yes, I am stating that I have an ability, or at least a foolproof plan, that if Sega were to implement with their company, that they shall be able to not only fix Sonic the Hedgehog, but that Sonic the Hedgehog will earn the respect of longtime fans again, and reach an incredibly phenomenal new audience by simply taking what they've already done amazingly and creating something just that much greater. So I know what you're all probably asking. How the hell am I gonna do that? Well, first things first, we need to figure out what the biggest issue with Sonic the Hedgehog is. And that can easily be summed up with business decisions. Sonic the Hedgehog's biggest problem has to be the business decisions made about the series. The restrictions put on the writers, the rushing of the video games, all of that can easily be pointed to the people in the motherfucking suits. Yeah. Those financial nerds that don't know anything about creation, those are the people responsible. Those people who think they know better for the franchise that they had absolutely no creative liberties over, those people. And you wanna know what? I think I know a few business decisions that can fix those problems and issues. We all know that the biggest issue with Sonic is business. The gameplay devs have a lot of amazing ideas that they should definitely be able to implement, and of course we know writers also have their own cool ideas based around Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic fans have known this for years. So, it's safe to say that the main issue that needs to be fixed with Sonic, and the thing causing all of the problems in Sonic, is of course, business decisions. So, What specific business decisions are causing Sonic the Hedgehog's issues? Well, let's talk about it, shall we? So, I know you're probably all wondering, what are the specific business decisions that Sega has been making that's ruined the Sonic franchise? Well, after playing a fuck ton of different Sonic games, watching interviews, and interviewing Sonic fans myself, I've been able to come up with something pretty foolproof. Or at least I've been able to figure out the few specific decisions that Sega keeps making that lead to the problems still existing. Number 1. Abandoning older ideas and constantly trying to reinvent what Sonic the Hedgehog means. Tell me if you heard this one before. So, Sonic the Hedgehog has released a series of really good games that stick to a specific fun and original gameplay style, and also has told a pretty decent and fun story throughout. But wait! Sega has a new idea! So they start making games in that specific form of Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay style, and it's a really fun, really new, really cool, original idea, and they start telling the story between, you know, those series of games. But wait! Sega ends up making a bad game using that type of gameplay style and storytelling, so they completely abandon that type of gameplay style and storytelling in order to try and do something new. So they end up making a new style of video games and, you know, end up trying to tell somewhat of a story throughout those specific types of games. But wait! Sega has a new idea, or they make another bad game, which ends up leading to them, unfortunately... Okay, I'm pretty sure you can see where I'm going here. Sega keeps abandoning older ideas simply because of their own mistakes, and they think that getting rid of everything associated with the bad mistakes or the screwed up ideas that they had is in every way, shape, and form the best way to go about it. It's very obvious that this is not the way to go. I mean, if we got a bad 2D Mario game and Nintendo just stopped giving us 2D Mario games altogether, you really think that that would make 2D Mario games better or would make the Mario series better? Or imagine we get a bad 3D open world Zelda game, and so Nintendo just stopped making 3D open world Zelda games with deep, interesting stories, because apparently making a 3D open world Zelda game with deep, interesting stories was the problem in the first place. Yeah, you see, that's not actually the case. At the end of the day, Sega constantly abandoning older ideas and constantly throwing out concepts and things that people love in an attempt to try and make something new is only going to hurt the Sonic franchise, because it's very clear that the problems with those specific games was simply that you screwed up. It wasn't the game's concepts and ideas, it was simply the fact that the games were just bad. You can use the same style of gameplay, you can use the same concepts, you can use the same storytelling. The problem is that Sega got rid of it because they didn't want any type of association, which was just stupid because it only ruined the Sonic franchise. By taking away the types of gameplay that people loved and completely destroyed any possibility of making this gameplay more refined, new, and genuinely better. I mean, imagine if Super Mario 64 was the only 3D Mario game we ever got in that gameplay style, and we never got games like Galaxy or Odyssey. At the end of the day, I'm sure people would be clamoring for a 3D Mario game similar to Super Mario 64, because a modern day 3D Mario game, or a modern day Super Mario 64, is exactly what Super Mario Odyssey is. So imagine if, say, oh, I don't know, we could get a modern day version of Sonic Adventure. And it would be somewhere on the same scale and genuine amazingness that that Mario Odyssey was. You know, something like that. And I know a lot of you are going to say Sonic Frontiers, but no, I do not consider that to be Sonic's equivalent to Mario Odyssey, and I'll probably get into that later. The next big issue that Sega has when it comes to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise is the idiotic business decision to treat Sonic and Friends more like mascots and not characters. Now, I will admit, I do think that this is definitely changing, and Sega is putting more effort into changing up this whole idea in general. I do 100% believe that with the release of both Sonic movies, Sonic Frontiers, and of course the new TV show Sonic Prime, we will be getting more characterization of Sonic the Hedgehog, and maybe we'll even get some character arcs and interesting storytelling from this again. But at the end of the day, I feel like Sega, the second they make a bad story, is gonna end up, for the most part, going right back to treating these characters like flanderized versions of themselves, which is kinda how Sonic the Hedgehog has felt for a long time. Now, I will admit Sonic Frontiers did kinda fix this. Sonic is acting more like a paragonish heroic character with a lot of responsibility. Tails, Knuckles, and Amy actually address how they've been acting in past games, and I do kinda like how the characters do act more like genuine characters, like the effects of the past are actually affecting them. But something that I don't necessarily see is really the fact that all of these characters don't seem to be really addressing or even having much establishment to who they are as actual people. And I know that sounds strange, saying that characters need to have some type of establishment as people, but when you're writing a character, you need to have things about them that are properly established, brought up, and actively talked about, which is something the Sonic franchise just doesn't have at all. And it's kind of unnerving. I mean, yeah, I like the idea of them bringing up stuff like Amy's tarot card readings in Sonic Frontiers, but she hasn't done that in years. And even then, that's something that was originally just a Japanese exclusive thing. Why bring this up now when most American fans have no idea about it? Like, it feels like the writing is getting better, but it's just not there yet. And I feel like Sega, if they address the third big issue that I have with them, which is simply having the right people work on the franchise. When it comes down to it, Sega really needs to know who to hire and who to fire. Cause honestly, if you look at Sonic Forces' credits, you'll understand that a lot of that advertisement was complete and utter bullshit. Yeah, there were no, well, developers from Sonic Colors or Sonic Generations working on Sonic Forces. It was not developed by those specific people. In fact, the game only had 3 freaking level designers. By the way, thanks to Radical Soda for calling that out, because seriously, how do you release a video game that only has 3 level designers? You know, a AAA 3D platformer? Jesus Christ on a motorcycle bike, what the hell? I feel like Sega doesn't really prioritize the specific workers who should be working on certain types of Sonic games, and while sure, I definitely believe that the Sonic team we have now might be really great for Sonic Frontiers, my plan and my ideas and solutions is going to require Sega to do just a little bit more and possibly have to hire a lot more people, you know, to actually fix the franchise and do something better with it. So, before I get into my solutions and how I would fix these problems, let's just say I want to introduce a special guest star, aka someone who's been in the Sonic the Hedgehog community and who's currently doing something phenomenal in the Sonic the Hedgehog community, none other than Gamerguyd7aces. Take it away, Gamer.
Hey everyone, Gamerguyd7aces here. Okay, now I was asked if I could remove one thing from Sonic and add something to it. What would they be? Well, first of all, one thing I definitely remove from Sonic games is the nostalgia pandering. Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant Zone, I will remove that from showing up in every game, because Sonic games used to be very fresh and original over a decade ago, so I want to see that again. And I would add adventure gameplay back. The last time we got anything close to adventure gameplay was Sonic 06, and we all know how that went. So I want to see it come again, and Sega shouldn't be afraid to bring it back because that was a working formula at the time. Plus, the boost gameplay has overstayed its welcome in my honest opinion. Sonic Forces was evident of that. Bringing back innovation and fixing the gameplay would fix Sonic games for me. Anyway, thanks for having me on here, Hard Hero.
Okay, I'm back. Oh boy, I didn't know that the pressure of actually solving the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise would be put on my 2 heavily horned shoulders. Which, by the way, comment down below if you guys like my armor and my, cool new look. I know a lot of people are gonna hate it because it's a gacha character, but fuck you, I don't know how to draw. Okay, with all that being said, let's get back to the main meat and potatoes of this video and get into some solutions. First things first, I'm gonna start off with the gameplay. I think that's kind of fucking obvious how the gameplay can be fixed. Okay, it's not. So here's my little plan here. In order to address all three of the issues that I brought up before, I think instead of just having one Sonic team, Sega is gonna need Sonic teams. Yes, I think Sega needs to have multiple development teams working on different types of Sonic the Hedgehog games. And here's who I think should be working on them. I think the team that's already working on Sonic Frontiers should stick to only really working on Frontier styles of games, while also implementing new ideas such as multiple playable characters, you know, cool new stage designs, level designs, and all that ish, and basically sticking on giving us these really badass and genuinely epic open world-esque Sonic games. That would definitely be pretty fucking good. Like, seriously, I honestly do like Frontiers' gameplay, and I think it can work out pretty well. I'll possibly give my own little review on Sonic Frontiers and possibly make a video on how I think a Sonic Frontiers sequel could work, but for the most part, I think that those gameplay developers should stick to the Frontiers gameplay because they seem to obviously know what they're doing. Then when it comes to other types of 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games, I think Sega should do the exact same thing they did with Christian Whitehead and his boys over at Headcanon and find fan game developers and hire them to be professional video game designers for a new 3D Sonic game that takes gameplay elements from Sonic Adventure and Sonic Heroes and just the adventure style of Sonic games in general. Basically, people have wanted a new Sonic Adventure style video game for years, and unless Sega is going to reach out to a bunch of the past developers who worked on Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and Heroes, I think they should definitely go out of their way to hire some fans to create Sonic Adventure Team. In other words, these are going to be the guys working on new 3D Sonic games that tell in-depth stories, have really cool multi-arc video game character arcs and all that shit, while also bringing back the Sonic Adventure style in a new, improved, and genuinely fun way. And of course, they could possibly start with remaking Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, you know, probably do that whole double pack thing that the Crash Twinsanity games did, not Twinsanity, but the Insane Trilogy ended up doing, and of course doing similar to what the Spyro Trilogy ended up doing, by giving us a really cool double pack with the Sonic Adventure pack or something, where you get Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2 with possibly new upgraded 3D models that look like really cool upgraded modern versions of the adventure models. You know, not just the versions of modern Sonic we've been getting in the past few games, but, you know, maybe some original designs here and there. You know, just let the kids go crazy with it and do something fun. Basically giving us a new Sonic Adventure style video game while also giving us new Sonic Adventure games in multiple different locations. Heck, maybe these new series of Sonic Adventure games could actually take locations we've never seen before and give them the adventure treatment. Plus, with the multiple playable characters, they could even fix a lot of the issues that Sonic the Hedgehog characters have had in previous games. But then we get to the 2D Sonic games. Boy oh boy, I'm pretty sure you already know what I'm about to say. Sonic Mania 2, goddammit! Seriously, we need a Sonic Mania 2. I am serious when I say this. Sonic Mania 2 would be phenomenal. And any new classic Sonic Mania style games, just give us new classic Sonic games. It's clear that these games sell well. You would honestly have to be stupid to not give us a new 2D Sonic game. And then the other types of 2D Sonic games, the modern 2D Sonic games. I'm talking Sonic Advanced and Sonic Rush, baby! Yep, I want either a new Sonic Rush or Sonic Advance game, or try to, you know, fuse these two styles together. Reach out to the same people who made Sonic Into Darkness, or, you know, any of the other types of 2D fan Sonic games that based on the Advanced or Rush style of games, and just do something fun, amazing, and just generally cool with it. Of course, these would be 4 distinct teams that would need to be managed, paid for, and, you know, obviously taken into account who's working on what. But at the end of the day, I think having specific teams to work on specific styles of gameplay is just a smarter thing to do, since having one specific Sonic team focus on making multiple types of games would be kind of hectic. Unless, for the advanced style games, or the Rush style games, however you want to go about it, Why not just reach out to Dimps and ask them to make some new games in that old style? I mean, yeah, Dimps did kind of fumble the bag with Sonic 4, whatever the fuck that was supposed to be. But I'm pretty sure if you gave them a little bit more time and told them, you know, that they needed to base this new game off of the games that they were actually good at making, I'm sure we get a phenomenal new modern 2D Sonic game. At the end of the day, what this would do, it would basically give Sonic the Hedgehog fans different forms of gameplay to enjoy. So obviously they'd still be complaining that one gameplay style is better than the other, but at least they'd be able to have all the different gameplay styles. They'd be able to have these different games to play and genuinely enjoy, and they won't really be complaining as much, and you'll be making more money because you'll be appealing to all Sonic fans. It's kind of like how Mario, Zelda, Kirby, and all these other franchises have different styles of gameplay, but they make games in those styles of gameplay. I mean, obviously with Zelda, you've got the top-down Zelda nerds, you got the open 3D world style Zelda nerds, and even with the open 3D Zelda games, there are different ways to play. You got your Toon Link games, you got your Adult Link games, you got all types of Link games, alright? We got all kinds of Links going on here. But then we get to Super Mario. You got 3D open world Mario games, you got the 3D land style games, and you got the actual 2D Mario games, the side scrollers that everybody loves. You know, that type of thing. And Sonic the Hedgehog has its own styles of gameplay too. The problem is Sega just doesn't use those other styles of gameplay because they kept trying to make one of those styles the definitive way to play Sonic. Well, I'm here to say that that is not okay. We need more than just one way to play as Sonic. We need multiple ways to play as Sonic. And in doing so, it gives us multiple ways to gain multiple types of potential for Sonic the Hedgehog as a whole, giving us new outlets to get different types of games, and honestly, to just have a blast with how much potential and how much fun all of these different kinds of games can give us. And I know what a lot of you diehard Sonic game fans are gonna ask. What about the boost games? What's gonna happen to the boost formula? Special stages. I think the boost formula should be stuck to nothing but special stages. I think Sonic Frontiers had the great, amazing idea of making them just 1/3 of the game, but also just making them special stages, because that's really what they are. They're special stages in order to help you collect the Chaos Emeralds, and by all means, I think that is fucking phenomenal. Okay? You'll still get your boost gameplay, it's just not going to be a main focus. So yeah, that's basically how I'd solve the gameplay. Oh wait, I almost forgot something. How I would distribute all of this. Okay, here's what I'd do. I'd make it so that the bigger Sonic the Hedgehog games, that of course being the, you know, 3D ones, the adventure style games, and of course the frontier style games, would come out every 5 to 6 years, since they'll be a lot bigger and much more open, and we'll have, you know, a lot more shit to get done with. And also, I'd make it so that the 2D games, which will be a lot smaller, will come out every 3 to 4 years. In other words, those Sonic games on top of that will sort of just come out on a somewhat schedulistic part, but none of these schedules will be actively mandatory. Like, I'm not going to rush these games out if we don't have time to get them, you know, out by the holidays, because, you know, rushing video games in general is a stupid idea. And any company who partakes in rushing video games out the door when they're not ready, well, they're just fucking stupid. Alright, let's move on to the last part. Okay, so how exactly am I going to fix Sonic the Hedgehog's storytelling? What plans do I have? What business decisions could I potentially make to possibly fix Sonic the Hedgehog's storytelling? Well, simple. Let the writers write. That is all. Find Sonic fans who understand the lore of Sonic the Hedgehog, who know how the world of Sonic the Hedgehog works, and who fully understand exactly what the hell Sonic the Hedgehog and his friends, family, and characters really are, and let them write the stories they want to. Sure, they're not all going to be great. Some of them might be even bad. But I'd rather take the risk on getting a bad Sonic the Hedgehog story than getting no Sonic the Hedgehog story. Because at the end of the day, Sonic the Hedgehog characters are characters, not mascots. Okay, I could be a little wrong there. Sure, Sonic the Hedgehog is the face of Sega. He is basically, by definition, a mascot. But he's also a character. Sonic the Hedgehog and his assortment of friends are characters. They developed, they grew, they became better over time, whether it was incredibly subtly, or whether it was the main focus of the actual game itself. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are held in so much critical acclaim nowadays, because looking back on it, we didn't know how good we had it when those games came out. Or at least people in the past didn't know how good they had it, because I was born in 2002, goddammit. But at the end of the day, those games were really the only Sonic games that we had that told good stories. And sure, people had really dumb and idiotic criticisms saying Sonic's friends were the problem, but the real problem was that Sonic's friends weren't written well. Shadow had a really good story in Sonic 06, but it got thrown away because Sonic 06 was a bad game. They abandoned a good idea simply because it was associated with a terrible product. And while sure, from a business side point that makes sense, from a creative side point, it doesn't. Because you're just throwing away potential, you're throwing away good ideas. When it comes down to it, Sonic the Hedgehog characters just need to be treated a lot better. And the way they can be treated better is by taking the character arcs that were originally started all the way back in Sonic Adventure 1, 2, 06, and all those games, and fleshing them out into something new. Give us new stories with these characters by finally paying off the character development we had before, and setting up new character arcs for them. I want to see Shadow, in a good game, come to terms with the fact that there are going to be people in the world that are terrified of him, but also rely on the friends around him to remind him that he's not a monster. To remind him that he's still a good person, and that he's carrying out Maria's wish by helping the people of the world and by protecting the ones he loves. I want to see a Sonic game where Sonic and Amy finally actually get together and become a couple because the two of them have developed together. Amy can apologize and address the fact that she was a bit of a stalker of Sonic for a long time. And I want Sonic to acknowledge the change and growth that she's made over the many games, and she's actually become his genuinely great friend. And throughout the game, we see how well these two work together, and we get to see that, yeah, they might have feelings for each other in a way that actually feels organic. I would love to see Tails upgrade a lot of his badass weaponry into something cooler. Make Tails the Iron Man of the Sonic series, goddammit. Except instead of him wearing cool suits, he can just make full-on mechs. Like, that would be awesome. Just let these characters evolve into cooler versions of themselves. They were already cool in the first place. Let them be cooler. But of course, another big thing that Sega needs to address is the world building of Sonic. And the canonicity and just basically how Sonic's world works in the timeline of events. I know the words are canonicity and continuity, but I'm not smart enough to use those words properly in a sentence, okay? Excuse me for being fucking stupid, but I am fucking stupid and I am proud of it, alright? I'm stupid and I'm proud! Shout it to the rooftops! I'm stupid and I am proud! Okay, but minus that little tangent, when it comes down to it, I feel like Sega really needs to address how the canon and world building of Sonic works, because you can't just say everything is canon and expect people to leave it at that. You need to actually write stories that solidify the canon and explain why certain stories contradict other stories, and just come up with some type of explanation, you know? You gotta actually write new stories that explain the old stories while also telling new stories, if that makes any sense. It should, because any writer worth their grain of salt and sugar and pepper and whatever else you put on the Thanksgiving ham is worth understanding that statement. In other words, we simply need Sonic stories to have humans and animals interacting with each other. We need Sonic stories where we get to see the comic book characters in the games and the game characters in the comics. We don't need restrictions and other idiotic things that prevent us from actually getting to enjoy the characters from all over the Sonic franchise just enjoying their company together and having a bunch of other cool things happen. Like, I want to see the events of Sonic Prime affect the video games. I want to see the events of whatever new video games affect the comic books. I want to see the comic books affect the TV shows. I want to see these things actually interacting with each other in an interesting and fun, well-written way. And I have ideas for this. I have potential. I have so many great fucking concepts for this, but I know if I say them, Sega will never use them, and that is depressing because Sonic the Hedgehog has so much potential to have so many phenomenal stories. And at the end of the day, all Sega has to do is let the people write those stories. We don't need Shadow to act like a flanderized version of himself. We don't need Sonic to be this overly cocky, overly asshole-ish type character that knows he's gonna win all the time. We don't need Tails to be a coward. We don't need Amy to be a stalker. We don't need Knuckles to be stupid. We don't need that. And it looks like Sega is fixing this. Like, it looks like they're fixing this with Sonic Frontiers, but Frontiers executed its story so poorly, in my opinion, that I still don't have full hope. I still don't feel like the writers of those games were able to really stretch their legs and write a good story. Because honestly, while I was originally going to make or finish up my Sonic Forces rewrite video a few years back, or months back, or however the fuck long that video came out, I think I might just make a Sonic Frontiers rewrite. Because the game story is okay, it's not bad. But from Sonic the Hedgehog, it should be better. And that's what Sega needs to do. They need to establish their canon properly, they need to develop their characters properly, and they need to stop with the flanderization. They need to take the old stories that they've already had and use them to build new stories out of them. And for the love of God, please, 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 please give us a Silver the Hedgehog and Blaze the Cat video game. Or at least give us a lot more stories with those two characters. And please bring the Chaotix back in some way, shape, and form. We haven't seen these motherfuckers in a long time, and I really want Silver, Blaze, or the Chaotix to be important again. Please. So yeah, that's my solution. Just let the people who know how to write stories for Sonic the Hedgehog write stories for Sonic the Hedgehog, and stop with the unnecessary restrictions. What's up, my Republic of Heroes? Heart Hero 456, Exo65 here, and boy, have I been slacking off a lot. Yeah, I really should have gotten this video out a lot sooner, but unfortunately, I had a few personal things come up that I will probably put a clip of me talking about either, you know, right here, or maybe later on in the video, like right at the end. But first, I just want to go ahead and tell you all that, well, I'm actually kind of excited that I'm finally getting to revamp my channel. And since I'm recording this right after Thanksgiving, and hopefully I can get this out before the end of December, happy Thanksgiving, and also Merry Christmas, everybody! Hopefully I release a better video later on that's a much better Christmas gift than whatever the hell this video is going to turn out to be. So with all that being said, let me just give a quick explanation for why this video took so long, then I can get into the actual meat and potatoes of the video. Or you know, you could just skip this part. I wouldn't blame you if you did. So let's get into this. First things first, the main reason why this video took so long was because I had to rewrite the script of this 5 different times, and I've been re-recording this script a lot, actually. In fact, I'm heavily disappointed in myself because it should not have taken me this long to finally get this script out and actually get this video out. I literally had a very big YouTuber record some audio for this video, which you will see later on in the video, but honestly, like, I am heavily disappointed that it took me this long to finally get this shit out when it should have been done a long time ago. Because I basically let him down, and I let my potential future audience down. And I was letting myself down. I felt awful, and well, considering my personal college classes weren't going too well either, I also felt like absolute dog shit because I didn't think I would really be getting anywhere. Not only that, but my computer, which I need to get a new one, is really, really bad. I'm currently recording and editing this entire video on my laptop because my actual computer just up and sucks. I need to get a new one, and hell, if it can at least run basic Fortnite, then I'll know it's good enough, because the computer I have right now can't even run that fucking game. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, I heard about Sonic Frontiers, and I also wanted to play Sonic Frontiers a little bit before I made this video, because Sonic Frontiers actually has influenced my opinions on the Sonic franchise a lot, and also has influenced a good chunk of this video. So, I just want to let you all know that I have played Sonic Frontiers. I haven't beaten the game yet at time of recording this part of the video, but I do, hopefully, if my computer runs properly, can make either a Let's Play or live stream on it. Which leads me to the next and final part of this. My computer can't fucking live stream for shit. Seriously, look at any of the test streams, and it always glitches out. And the same thing happens to my laptop too for some stupid-ass reason. So I've kind of been trying to fix that for the longest time, and I have not been able to fix it at all. So yeah. But, with all that being said, sorry for not uploading anything for a long-ass time, and sorry to the YouTuber who you're gonna see later on in the video for taking so long to get this video out. Oh, and before you all ask, yes, my eyes change color depending on my mood. Alright? Just gonna give you a bit of a quick rundown right here. This is sadness, this is nervousness, this is anger, and this is when I'm just thinking. And this is me when I'm happy. So with all that being said, hope you all enjoy the video, and depending on whether or not I put this before or after the full main meat and potatoes of this shit will be determined in the editing process. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy and/or enjoy.
Stop stalling in the doorway and cancel the cruise control.